Hey folks, welcome to Older and Wiser. I'm Bob Bates in Los Angeles. Just got a haircut, feeling a little embarrassed about, I'm not sure. Susan Sikora joins us from Northern California. Help me out, Susan.
What are you, a little clip?
It feels a little too short on the sides.
You know what? Live with it. That's all. You know.
Hey, Susan, let's get started. I came across an item. More than half of Americans use the term San Fran when referring to San Francisco. You heard this term, right? People like to say, hey, I'm going up to San Fran. You live up there.
I have heard that.
And it's offensive to you, is it not?
I don't take it too personally, but what's the harm in adding two more syllables? Cisco.
Right.
San Francisco. I mean, San Fran is like, I don't know. It's like you're lazy to talk.
They actually did a survey recently. The fourth annual San Francisco Naming Day survey was done to celebrate the city's naming in 1847. They surveyed 1,000 people, and very few people were really aware that locals hate the name. I thought it was interesting that of those 30%, a full quarter of those people use the term because it bugs locals in San Francisco. That's mean.
I think that's indicating you need a hobby. Seriously, start collecting stamps.
It's not nice.
I don't understand.
Why would you call a city by some name just to bug the locals? That doesn't make sense.
Especially if you're in the tourist category. If you're coming here and you're spending money to get here and stay here and do things, why would you want to tick people off?
Makes no sense. I guess there's a certain faction of folks who sort of see San Francisco as that a base of liberalism and kind of craziness. And
I don't even think it. You know what else I think it could be? Seriously, it's not even all that serious. I think you're really thinking it. You're giving it a lot more thought than probably the people using it. But I think a lot of people who say San Fran, I think they think it sounds cool, and so it's kind of a hip, cool kind of. Well, I'm going to San Fran. Like, in other words, I go there all the time. I'm constantly on a plane jetting around. Nobody's doing that anymore, really. Everybody's thinking, oh, do I have to wear a mask in the airport? So you know what? Get over it. I mean,
listen, living in LA, I get feeling that people are dissing your town when they use certain terms. For example, I don't like SoCal. I haven't even heard. I guess I've heard that. They use that a lot here. They call it, and I guess it's to include all of Southern California. Just say Southern California. You don't say SoCal. I always hate La La Land.
La La Land is kind of trite and juvenile.
Tinseltown is stupid. Don't say that.
That's kind of older. That's like Hollywood just started.
All right. This next survey comes to us from studyfinds.org. The headline is, half of Americans now think 2021 was the worst year of their lives. What do you think? It was bad. It wasn't great. I thought 2020 was worse.
Being both half Italian and an older thinking Catholic, I'm still a little superstitious, and I'm afraid to say that if that was the worst year, this year we'll say, oh yeah?
Sure enough, it's going to get worse,
just
right?
Wait.
According to this, 53% feel that 2021 has been a very unpleasant year. The people who feel it most apparently are millennials, ages 25 to 40.
I see that.
Followed by Gen Zers. Those are those ones, 18 to 24-year-olds. Mm-hmm. And after that, the Gen Xers were unhappy. Interestingly, baby boomers disagreed. 56% of boomers did not think that 2021 was the worst year ever. And I think it was the year before. 2020 was bad, man. I'm telling you, we were really in bad shape in 2020.
2020 was
we had
bad.
No masks.
2021 was
we had
bad.
a pandemic with no vaccines. We had some crazy happenings in Washington, D.C. It was a pretty horrible time, I thought. So 2021 feels like a little bit of a relief, but I guess we could say that 2021, we were hoping for more, and it didn't pan out. We were hoping that 2021 was going to lift all this weight off of our shoulders as we pass through this pandemic, and maybe there'd be some agreement in Washington as there'd be some across the aisle kind of dealing, and none of that happened. So maybe it's the fact that we were hoping for more and it didn't pan out that makes us feel like 2021 was a bad year.
I think we just thought we'd turn a page and it would go away. That's not how a virus works.
Right.
I think 2021 in many ways was a lot of, okay, now it's over. Oh, no, here comes another variant. Oh, now it's over. Oh, here comes another variant. And we're not a disciplined people.
No, we're not. No, we're not. You're absolutely right.
And then was all, this is always.
We're babies, basically. We're a bunch of babies.
We're tired of the discipline.
Yeah.
We don't like this. We don't want to be self-disciplined. We went to school, we had to tell them you had to do what you were told. I will say this, when going back to some of the things you ticked off in terms of ages, I get why the people between 20 and 40 are really unnerved by it, because when we were 20 and 40, you're running around, you're going here, you're going there, you're getting together with your friends, you're trying to meet people, you're trying to maybe hook up, you're getting the career
that
going.
Must be
you might
miserable,
be finishing
right?
college,
dating,
and now
imagine
you have
that.
to stay home and leave or put a mask on and stay away. How do you date if you're 6 feet distanced?
It's also the age when young families are getting started and people are having babies.
That's right.
And children in nursery school and early ages. Imagine that. You got a little child, can't be vaccinated, can't go to school. Yeah. It's just, and they're in the house with you, and it's fine if you've got a big sprawling mansion, but most people don't. We live in apartments and things, and
help. And how many people have help?
And and you can't have the help that you had because if you had a babysitter or a nanny or something, they can't come because it's not safe.
That's right. You've got to worry. Even if you've got a nanny, you have to worry, where does the nanny live? If the nanny doesn't live with you and you don't see her or his every move, you don't know where they've been, and they come in, they could bring the virus in your house. So even money couldn't necessarily buy your way out of this.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I think you're right about the 20 to 40-year-olds. I think that's these people are just getting their careers off the dock, and they're
already ran around when we were young.
Yeah.
We're not doing that now. Now it's, you want to run around, you want to go to dinner, or you want to sit on the couch and have a glass of wine and some cheese and crackers. I can sit, because I can wear my pajamas there. I mean, it gets more comfortable. As you get older, you think, I don't have to run around and do that. Or if you're retired, you're not worried about the professional thing. You want to stay in touch. I think that was hard. But with Zoom, with the technology, I mean, even people who are not, running for Tim Cook's job, that's me.
Well, it was great that Zoom came along.
Yes.
And became what it did just as we were entering the pandemic. Zoom had been around before the pandemic, but not long. It was new. This was a pretty new
I
app.
would not have ever even bothered with it except to know about it, so I didn't sound stupid in conversation if it came up, and then that doesn't bother me that much anyway. But I learned it because I thought this is a way to connect, and I did that on several levels. So we're doing a podcast. I connect with my girlfriends on one night of the week, usually girlfriends from college who I wouldn't see if we could still run around, but I'm not going to get on a plane every week. Did it with my family at Christmas. So I mean, there's ways to keep connected. It's not as good as seeing somebody in person, but it's better than the phone. It's a little more personal than the phone.
I can't imagine a pandemic like the sort that we've been in for 2 years without the advantages of video conferencing and Zoom, Skype, whatever it is you use. Because imagine just how isolated you would feel if all you could do was make a phone call to people. It would be hard. 9 in 10 people, employed Americans, are excited to head back to work full time in 2022. That doesn't surprise me, does it?
No, it's not surprising.
A lot of people do kind of want to hang out in their home offices and not go back. But I think the vast majority just are sick of being on the couch with their own stuff.
Well, not only that, but I think a lot of people who want to get back to work also, if they don't mind working at home, they've noticed that perhaps while the price of things has gone up, their gasoline bill is lower because they're not sitting in traffic every single day for hours in many cases.
It would be interesting to know how this pandemic has affected traffic patterns and overall gasoline use and all that. I bet it's been beneficial, one would think.
Do you remember the first time, I think it was the very first week, it probably started I want to say March of 2020. Okay, so
That was the
this
beginning
March will
of
be
it, yeah.
2 years, right? And everybody all of a sudden had to stay home, and they started this in Italy. And you saw all of a sudden there were fish or some wildlife living in the canals in Venice, and the air was cleaner everywhere, and it was like, oh my gosh, we can see the sky and it's blue in some cases. So
Yeah, that's right. That's what
Mother
people
Nature
do.
probably loved it,
Right,
but-
Mother Nature was happy for it. Maybe she was the one that created the whole mess, possibly.
Well, who knows? I mean, it's hard to know, but I think that I think that there are, there's always an upside, I guess. Not in every single situation, but in most situations, you got to find a silver lining somewhere.
Yeah, that could be a little bit of a silver lining. I do think we've learned a lot, and we're different now, and companies have made changes that have been advantageous to employees. So there's good things that have come from the pandemic.
Yeah, but I do think it's different for if you're a different age. We kind of did all that, and if everything resumed tomorrow, we wouldn't be out bar hopping and doing all.
We'd still be doing the same stuff.
Yeah, doing college things and stuff. I mean, and there are people. Let's face it, there are still people who will go out to a big football game. I always worry about that when I see it. Even if you glance by it on TV, I'm not a sports fan, but when you see that, and I think, oh my God, super spreader. There's a lot of them. They're outside, but they're not.
They're all together.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we've seen some cities plateau. Some infection rates coming down now. So let's keep our fingers crossed that it's going to keep going.
That's the vaccination rate. And also we have to understand that in California, except for maybe, if you go in the Tahoe area where it really is cold, but we have weather that will allow us to maybe not eat outside all the time, but we'll do it sooner than later, and it'll go longer. So.
It's easier for us than it is back in Boston.
With a moderate climate, it's easier to do some of those things.
So, I mean, I guess people are looking forward to attending in-person meetings, wearing business attire again, or their job uniforms. 47% said they can't wait to get back into their uniforms.
I bet that'll go away after the first week, if it lasts that long.
46% said they want to go out to lunch again with their friends from work, and 66% say the thought of making small talk with coworkers they haven't seen physically in a while gives them anxiety.
Yeah,
I would be that person.
Yeah, only because the small talk it's just that, it's to break ice and just to make sure that you say something as opposed to go by someone and ignore them. But I think the small talk and the business suits, I know women who haven't put on a bra in 2 years.
I won't
just
ask.
Saying.
I'm not going to ask for personal information. Okay.
It's a daily thing.
All this can be pretty depressing, of course, spending 2 years isolating and being careful in a pandemic, and it can bum us out quite a bit. Apparently, they did a survey recently in the UK determining what the folks from Great Britain do to sort of pick themselves up. And
this is my kind of survey.
This is pretty cute. They've got a whole list of things.
Pick yourself up. What do you do? Go ahead.
Well, they like to put on clean sheets. That's one of the things that they do.
I'm not changing the bed. See, I bet you that's a male thing, because I'm going to guess, I could be wrong, unless you live alone, unless you're a male gay couple, somebody else is changing your sheets, and it's probably a woman.
That is so incredibly sexist of you to say.
Yes, it's a
only
sexist thing.
women
still exists.
change the sheets. That's ridiculous.
Do you change the sheets on your bed?
I certainly do.
Every time they need it, or once in a while if your wife can't do it?
No, it's not her job or my job. I'm do it as much as she does. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good for you. I think you're
but
more
I'm sure
involved in
it's
a lot,
not that way in all houses. But that's
I don't.
But anyway, putting some clean sheets on your bed will make you feel happier, because you'll get into those clean sheets at night and it'll feel fresh, like you're in a hotel. So
okay. Well, I think unless you're sleeping on really dirty sheets, and you can feel that, and yet most people don't.
But there's something about the smell of the fabric softener or something. I don't know. It does. It is nice, or they're a little crisper. They're a little cleaner. They just.
I will say this: when it got a little chilly up here, which of course is relative, because again, I'm in moderate Bay Area weather. When I did put on my microfiber sheets, I do like flannel, by the way. It's really hard to find a great set.
Yeah, those were in
like
in the 80s. I haven't seen a flannel sheet in
Oh,
years.
no, flannels are around. I have a set that I bought, I don't even know how many years ago, and they're still okay, but they're, they could use replacing.
Yeah, they
And
wear out,
looking.
right? They get rubbed. I know. I had some in the old days. Yeah.
And they're nice because when you get in the bed, this is where I am. When you get in the bed, I don't want to feel that ice cold sheet feeling. Even in the summer sometimes.
Oh, they're cozy.
So
they're cozy. Yeah.
I want cozy. So I do have microfiber sheets that I got on a deal on where shopping.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, when I get in those, it's nice, it's soft, it's great.
But
I like
see,
that.
it's a little pick-me-up. Put those sheets on, you'll feel a little happier. The Brits also like to clean out the clutter. I know you love to do that, and that makes you feel better.
Yeah, I do. This week I cleaned out, last week I cleaned out my makeup drawer, and this week I took all my makeup brushes and washed them.
And how does that feel? You feel happier, right?
When I open the drawer, it feels good. It wasn't bad. It was a small chore. It wasn't going to take the whole day. And after an hour, not even, it was better. And I realized,
you feel better.
I felt funny throwing out the makeup because it's that kind of, maybe that's still good and I need it. And then I realized, I bought this blush in 1983.
Yeah,
so
that's stuff that can hang around too long. Just like prescriptions. You can forget how long you've had prescriptions.
Same thing. I've gone through that too.
Singing loudly is something the Brits like to do to give themselves a little pickup.
If you live in an apartment, probably that's not a great idea because depends on what time you do it. But it
does feel good. Forget about the people and just think about yourself for a second. It does feel good to kind of belt out a song.
I haven't done that in years, but okay.
Looking through old photos is fun. People like that.
That's fun. I like to do that.
Watching a nostalgic childhood film. That's a upper, sorta. What would you? What's a comfort film for you?
Oh, it's complicated. Something's got to give.
When Harry Met Sally.
It used to be which one?
When Harry Met Sally.
When Harry Met Sally. Heartburn. Remember Heartburn?
With Jack Nicholson and
Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep comes up a lot for me.
So it's the kind of film that it's going to happen, so there's no fear that this thing could go south. You understand it's a happy little film, and you just cozy in, and you feel safe for that 2 hours that you're watching the movie. I
have to say, when there's a lot of people who I think there's something to be said for that. I've mentioned this to a few friends. I don't mention it all the time, and they go, "You watch that again?" Like I'm a moron.
Yeah, I'll watch things over and over. I'm totally willing to rewatch things.
It's a predictable thing, like you said, but also this, and I don't know if you have found this with your friends during the pandemic or not. They'll get on the phone. I have certain friends that just I can't do it. You're stronger than I am. And I hear all this, and I think I'm not stronger. I'm just dealing with what is, okay? And I say, why don't you watch something on TV? Oh, I am watching it. And then they'll cite something that's like some crime show.
Exactly.
And I'm thinking, what are you doing? It's like you're doing brain damage.
Or an apocalypse movie or a horror film. It's like, let's just add more scary things onto your brain to freak you out even more.
Seinfeld.
The world is scary enough.
I Love Lucy holds up. I mean, there are things that are funny, and there's some funny shows on now, not as funny, but if it's an old one and you know that it's going to be hilarious and you're still going to get a laugh, watch it.
The Brits have a few things that on this list that seem a little odd to me. I don't think that it's necessarily going to help me feel better, but they list cleaning the cat flap.
What's the flap?
Well,
I read that 4 times in your notes.
I know. I had to Google it. It's like, when you have a dog door. I guess people have cat doors, and there's a little flip plastic thing that flips.
I don't have.
So apparently some people find that gets dirty as the cat goes in and out, and they clean that off, and that makes them feel better. That is so random.
Don't have one, not interested, and if I did, would not clean it. I can't. How dirty is your cat?
Yeah, I mean, what a strange thing.
Know what? If the cat flap is dirty, it means your cat is going outside in some dirt, and I would say get rid of the cat flap, keep the door closed, keep the cat
inside. Clipping toenails is something people like to do. To make themselves feel better. I think that's a little strange. Finally, walking around the house naked. I don't really feel a need to do that.
No.
In fact, there's so many mirrors in our house that that's the opposite of a pick-me-up.
Dealing
That's a
with the
bum you
braless-
out.
Dealing with the braless look in clothes is bad enough by a mirror sometimes. It depends on the day and the top that
Yeah.
you're wearing. But I don't need no. Well, I'm not walking around.
Don't need.
Well, my luck would be that the window would be open and the people across the way are looking in and going,
Yes,
"What?"
feast your eyes on this, neighbors. All
Not
right.
only that, but there's the off chance that they would close their blinds because they really
Oh, they
don't want
would.
us.
Oh, no. No, not off chance. I'm sure they would. They
Hey.
would quickly pull the curtains. All right. Finally, scientists surveyed some people about outer space. And this headline says the comments are out of this world. Well, we'll be the judge of that. Are they really out of this world? Don't know. 1,500 participants were asked by the Outer Space Institute and the Angus Reid Forum USA some questions about outer space. And so here's some of the results. 81% of participants agreed that outer space should belong to everyone, and no country should be able to claim any control over outer space.
Yeah, you can't say, okay, the moon belongs to the United States. No, I agree with that.
No. I mean, we landed on the moon first.
Fine. Okay.
And we put our little flag, but that doesn't mean we own it, right?
No, it just means you were there.
71% agree that it is likely that there is other intelligent life beyond Earth in our galaxy.
Might be. There was one comment on there that drove me completely cuckoo, all right, along these lines. And the line was something like, if God wanted us to know that there were people out there, he would have told us and it would have been evident and we would know it. And I want to say, did God tell you that personally?
Yeah, right.
Did God text you?
Did
How do
God
you know?
tell you everything?
How do you know?
Yeah. Everything that's true, God has already told you? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think there could be life, but, intelligent life out there, maybe. I'm worried about the intelligence of the life we have encountering right here. I'm not so worried about right now. Do I think little space aliens are going to come and arrive and get us? No. I think they might come and they might say, you know what? We've seen what's down there. Let's move on.
Exactly. That's the real question. Is there intelligent life on Earth? Is the question.
Are they interested in us?
Yeah.
That's
it too. Are they interested in us?
Right.
And and are they hostile? No, they're not. Who knows? We don't know.
They think they know so much. We already know that.
75% said it is likely that we will detect microorganisms beyond Earth and in our solar system. I think that's a possibility. I think we've almost kind of seen something like that on Mars. Didn't we see some sort of...
You're asking the wrong person.
I thought there was
this
some
stuff.
recent
I'm older
discovery.
and not so wiser about all this, but go ahead.
72% agree that there should be an international ban on conducting tests that create orbital debris. That's kind of a big thing. The tests that they're referring to, I think, are the anti-missiles. What do you call it? Where the missiles go up and we have space guns that can shoot down the missiles before they can come down and create a nuclear explosion. Like a Star Wars sort of a thing. But the problem with that is that you do that, and that blows up all that crap and it's spinning around the Earth creating orbital debris.
If you were going to say we could intercede with a meteor that's going to hit the Earth and blow us to pieces, right again.
That's an interesting question. Well, I guess if it's the question of whether or not, the Earth is going to be destroyed, we'd rather have some orbital debris floating around up there causing problems than to have the Earth destroyed. But the question is really about tests, because in order to figure out whether this stuff will work, countries want to do tests. So they want to send something up in space, blow it up, and see if they can destroy it.
If I were the queen of the universe, here's what I would say.
Well, some say you are.
Nobody says that.
Nobody.
But nice of you to, placate me a little bit there. But I think if I were the queen of the universe, I would say, if people want to work together for something, like to cure cancer, or they think finding something out there would help us make some kind of discovery that would benefit all mankind, I think it would be nice You can go up there and you can do what you want, but you got to work together for the good of mankind, not just your country, your burb, whatever. You know?
Yeah, and that's not going to happen.
Not to make another bunch of money.
Right.
And I'll tell you what else I don't like right now, and I think this is coming up. The celebrities going into space.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I mean,
you know what that is?
I'm not sure I know what the harm is. It does feel like a lot of money is being wasted, although we're learning things from these sorts of trips technologically. Well, I assume we are.
When Jeff Bezos goes up.
Listen, we learned a lot from the moon stuff and all that.
But they went up, I think they went up with a purpose, or they went up with experiments they were going to do about science or about some kind of thing that, again, would benefit somebody.
You're talking about space tourism, and do we need space tourism?
Let's go up, let's see it, and let's go down. Oh, I saw the Earth, it was beautiful. So now you're going to come back and maybe be nicer to the Earth and not pollute as much. I think you don't need to go up to find that out. I don't also think...
Yeah, why would you do it? Yeah.
And I don't think in terms of the stuff moving around, unless you have a real purpose for going other than, look at me, I've got money, I can go. That's nice. Go.
It does seem like a waste of resources and
it looks like we're looking for another place to trash because we've trashed a lot down here already.
Well, we are out of time, folks. For all the stuff that matters when you're 50 plus, visit us at olderandwiser.com. By the way, if you go to olderandwiser.com and watch this podcast on our YouTube channel, which you'll see there, you'll see my new haircut, which is really
worth the price of admission.
That's the reason to Google us up and go to olderandwiser.com just to see this ridiculous haircut. The hairstylist used a 3 clipper instead of a 4 clipper this week. She just thought that I think you need a 3 instead of a 4, and maybe she's right. I'm not sure. I do feel like it's pretty skinny on the sides.
You could probably still find online at a much increased price a Flowbee.
Yeah, Flowbee. Who was it? The famous actor
George
Clooney uses
and the sales of Flowbees, I think, or the interest in them at least went up. And I went online just to see because I thought I got to see this.
It's going to be noisy though, because you got not only do you have the clipper part working, you've got a vacuum cleaner.
Vacuum cleaner, you attach it, and it kind of clean. But the only thing is, I mean, it does save. I know somebody who actually did it, and she
apparently it kind of works.
It does kind of work, but you got to know where you're going. You just can't go all over your head willy-nilly and,
Yeah.
You got to know what you're doing.
But it also cleans up the hair as it goes, which I also think is pretty impressive.
That's good, yes.
All right. Final word of the week, Susan. What's your final thought?
A couple of things. First of all, I think everyone should pitch in about changing the sheets.
Okay. We do.
That's
just
what's
for
happening
record.
in the Bates household,
Yes.
so hats off to you.
Thank you.
Potato chips are still a good comfort food. Just be careful you don't chip your teeth. And finally, to all women, about the bra, do what you want.
Do what you want. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.